Right, today, guys, we are going to be talking everything from military experience to finding life of purpose to whatever comes up. I've got Hayley. Hayley works with me at Complete Commando, and we're just going to thrash some stuff out. And we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Hayley, start us off.
But I'm going to go straight in with the big question, what we all want
All
to know,
right.
because you've been on multiple side quests at the moment. So I want you to tell everybody what is going on with you at 9 o'clock last night on a
Yeah, so I believe that men, I'm a Christian man especially, we need to fight back evil. So I think that's a big calling on the people of this country. And rather than just sitting in the DMs and on Instagram and Twitter or whatever it's called and gobbing off about the state of the country, it's like this last 6 months I've been like, right, I'm gonna start acting on stuff. So I joined an online child protection team where we basically track down pedophiles and catch them, detain them, arrest them, get them prosecuted. And so that's what we've been doing. Last night, obviously, one in Preston, a guy was talking to multiple young girls online, sending them explicit pictures, teaching them about sexual acts, and trying to meet up with them in hotels, all this sort of filth. So we went and found him, detained him, questioned him, got it all on video, got all the evidence of the logs of all his chats, and then the police arrested him. So we've been doing that for the last couple of weeks.
absolutely incredible. And I think I'm just going to bring up when I came to your house last week to go over some stuff for work, because I knew that you were kind of getting involved in this, but I think until you actually witness what is actually going on, like in the flesh, I think everyone is quite ignorant to it. So like, obviously I was with you in the office, you set up the account and you were like, look, I'm going to give this 20 minutes and I'll show you what happens. And within not even 20 minutes, probably more like 10, you'd had like 4 explicit pictures sent over to you as you were being the decoy of like a 14-year-old, 13-year-old girl that they
12.
are aware of. 12. You tell them your age and they proceed to send, to say, just to everything. They proceed to do that. And that for me was like, yeah, it's sickening. So the fact that it's absolutely rife, that's just one chat room, that's one person within 10 minutes being inundated with like things beyond, like we can't even probably disclose them. Yeah, that for me was just pretty eye-opening, to be honest.
Yeah, there's some stat as well. Like the kind of ethics behind decoying, which is like when people pretend to be like a 12-year-old online or whatever to catch these guys. So the way that our organization does it is they'll sit and they'll basically have like a dormant account where they just set up a picture with a young picture, normally like an AI picture of themselves that's made them look like 12 years old. And they just sit and wait on these apps, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Kik, any app. And they just sit and wait. And the rules of our engagement are that you are not allowed to start a conversation. You're not allowed to flirt in the conversations. You can't coerce them. You can't lead them on. Can't anything like that. You just sit and wait, and they'll always do it. And so people are like, "Oh yeah, but that's like wrong because you're catch." Well, for every decoy, I think there's 400 kids affected. So the chance of getting someone is 1 in 400. And within 20 minutes, like I said, like you said the other day, it was like I think there was six different guys sending pictures and asking if have they shaven the
Yes.
obvious and all that filth. Um, so that's 1 in 400. Now we had a paedophile the other day who we caught at the station who wanted to meet a 12-year-old, and he'd DM'd 2 of our decoys. So it's a 1 in 400 chance, and he DM'd 2 of us within 4 or 5 messages. He sent his knob. He sent, have you shaven your da-da-da? Are you a virgin? All this stuff within 5 messages on both of them. So you imagine how many guys this guy is, how many girls this guy is messaging when those are
Yeah.
the stats. You got to confirm that those are the stats, but it's something mad like that. So how many girls are affected? Now, there's 2 types of pedos, like physical ones that like destroy your child's life in the flesh, and then also ones that destroy their lives from their bedroom, and the parents are none the wiser. Like these messages, you saw it with yourself. I didn't message anyone on that app when I added that, and within a couple of messages, all these guys would say you're teaching about sexual acts, and you go like, oh, what does that mean? And they'll start teaching you you do this and this will feel nice. And have you ever seen a knob before? Here's my knob. Like, would you like this in you? And they think they're talking to a 12-year-old girl. So the problem is absolutely out of control. And I just will not tolerate it. Like, for me, I think it's the most scummy thing a person could do. Murder, I think we can all agree that in the right circumstances, you could be that furious with someone that you lash out and kill them, right? So, like, I think every person's capable of that. Like, it's a horrible thought. But I think if the circumstances, the stress levels and the threat levels was enough, I think everyone's got it in them to like lash out and murder someone. This is pure wickedness. Like, there is not a centimeter in my body that could ever do this. And I'm sure 99% of people are the same.
And I think obviously, like, because I've come from like a teaching background and a mental health background and all the things that we try and teach children to keep them safe. And there's no amount of lessons on online safety or teaching around IT and how to use, using that safely and making sure you don't have this account and doing this for your passwords and keeping you safe online, the curriculum. It is absolutely not robust enough to withstand, like you say, the fact that it's completely rife. 1 in 400, yet within 10, 20 minutes, you had 6 messages from a decoy account where you're literally dormant. They approach you. Because that was going to be my question. Like, how do you catch them? Surely you have to like actively go out there to try and no, you don't. They literally come to you. And that for me was even scarier because it's like they're just there wanting to destroy children's lives, basically. And obviously, with my mental health background, there's always part of me that tries to explain behaviors, right? And I think that comes from like having a passion with psychology and understanding like people's core, like their being, and like really wanting to get to know somebody. But there's absolutely no scientific explanation. There's nothing could ever justify those actions. Like you say, murder, they're definitely within fight or flight, and chemically, we've all got the potential to do that. If someone purposefully hurts someone I love, I'd want to hurt them. That's just how it is, right? But with that is pure evil. There's no excuse. There's no amount of, they must be sick in the head, they must have a mental illness, they must be autistic, there must be this, that. No.
Yeah.
Because absolutely there's no excuse for that behavior. It's sick, it's vile, they should be locked up. Then, well, I won't go into what I think should happen to them, but yeah.
And the thing is as well, Hey, is like we all have desires for different things, don't we? Like, if you're in a relationship, you have to fight off desires for people outside of your relationship. We all go through those struggles. We all go through the struggles of like you drive past a massive mansion, the desire, oh, I want that house, like the jealousy, and you've got to fight that and be like, no, that's freaking. So we're always constantly fighting like exterior desires. Now, let's just say you're an absolute freaking sicko and all the psychology in the world can back this up and prove it and things like that. That still is not an excuse, because this is like a, have you ever well, you have seen a 14-year-old, obviously everyone, when you envision like what a 14-year-old or what a 13-year-old girl is or boy, they're like innocent, sweet, small, right? They're like just like they are not. There's
It
there's it's freaking sick. That's what it is. And so
think
if you were that way, twisted and inclined, guess what you've got to do? You've got to fight that the rest of your freaking life. And you've got to if you slip up, like, it is unacceptable. Like cheating. Like, I don't care what your excuse is. It is unacceptable to cheat, like in a relationship. This is a billion times worse than that. And so there is no excuse, regardless of how you're wired or your experiences or were you touched as a kid or any of that crap. I do not care. You do not touch children. You do not speak to children in this way. It is an absolute abomination, and you deserve, quite frankly, you deserve to be hung in Birkenhead Square. But
I think
there's like,
sorry, I was going to say, like, for me, exactly what you've just said, like, regardless, that is so fundamentally wrong, and they know that it's wrong. Otherwise, they wouldn't be pursuing that. Like, if they were craving connection or whatever, like, there are multiple different avenues to go down. So that a lot of it comes around through gaming, right? So like they'll try
yeah,
and send a game or whatever, and like that sense of connection and belonging and stuff like that. But they know fundamentally that is wrong, yet they're still pursuing that. So that for me is evil, because everyone has got a moral compass. Everyone is aware of right and wrong. Even children that I've taught from the age of 4 know right from wrong, regardless of whether they've got a label as being having special educational needs or, clearly struggling with mental health and upbringing. Like, I've seen it all. I have seen it all. And there's no excuse for pursuing that behavior. Like you say, everyone's got desires, everyone's got different perspectives of the world or whatever, but on all levels, that's fundamentally wrong.
Yeah. And so the guy, the one last night was really interesting on this topic. Actually, you can go and look at it on Angels of Innocence on Facebook, like because we film it all. And this guy like opened up like a can of worms. So we were saying, so for what he was messaging one of our decoys, but he was also messaging like 5 or 6 other kids. So for anyone who's like, "Oh, decoying's wrong," listen, they're not just messaging the decoy. With the decoy comes lots of other kids. So like you need to get that out of your head. Like the more they abuse our decoy, that's the less time they're spending abusing real kids. So you need to get that out of your freaking heads for a start. But he opened up and we were like, why? I said to him, why have you chosen children and not adults? And he said, power domination. You can't do it to an adult. Our team were like, try and dominate us right now then. Like we don't get violent with them unless they get violent with us. But we definitely like put it on them, like because this guy was sick. You should see the logs that we had to read, how he was trying to dominate this like 12-year-old or 14-year-old girl, just a sicko. And yeah, so like that's what a lot of it comes down to, is this domination and stuff. The guy the week before at Birkenhead, this bloke was like rat. He was a reoffender 5 years ago. He got caught, and then we caught him again. But he come to the station to meet a 13-year-old. He was like, so evil. You could see in his eyes, just so evil. And like, he was just like, we have no doubt he would have easily raped her if he had got her on her own. And I think killed her, to be honest. Like, I think he definitely had that in him. And you think over that 5-year period, how brazen he was in his conversations. You saw the start of that log.
Yeah.
How brazen he was. Like, he has definitely met children before, 100%. So, like these people destroy lives. They're sick, they're twisted. That child has to live with it for the rest of their lives. Like we see it often in our videos, people comment and say things like, I'm in my 50s and I'm still have nightmares to what happened to me. That is like wickedness. And like, I believe that we need to be deterrents. I believe as a man, I can't speak for women, but men, we need to be deterrents. And that's what we teach our people on our programs. It's like, you're a deterrent. That is your responsibility to be a deterrent. And women, to be fair, like you need to be well trained. You need to train some sort of fighting method. You need to keep yourself in good shape. And you need to stand up against evil. So like, yeah, like that is each citizen's responsibility, is to be a deterrent against terror, to be a deterrent against evil. And so that's what I've been really trying to action the last 6 months with the stuff we're doing.
Yeah, I think it's really sad though that it's unavoidable. It's just how the world is now. But it's really sad now that as a woman, because I put it on my
Yeah.
story the other night, right? So like obviously the clocks have gone back now. So
Yeah.
genuinely, like there's a girl I follow, Lily Lift. She's brilliant. And she was like, "Oh, it's a shame because I can't go running now." And he was like, why? Because it's dark or because you don't feel like it? And she's like, "No, because it's a genuine threat to safety. Like." You have to do a different route. You have to make sure you're wearing high vis. You have to maybe do a shorter route, tell people where you are, tell people when you get back. That literally cuts short, like when it's dark evenings, dark mornings, it cuts short our day because it is fundamentally unsafe or it's classed as irresponsible because then people will say, oh, what were they wearing? She shouldn't have gone that route, or she probably shouldn't have gone down that alley, or she was through the park and it was dark. Like, of course that's going to happen. That should not be the case.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. Like, I'm a well-trained male, former Royal Marine, all those things for most of my life. And even I don't like running in the night. Like, so like I have this like internal dialogue with myself, like, should I run down there? And like, I think in terms of people being safe, I'm pretty much as sort of safe as you can be in that circumstance. So if I feel like that, I can't imagine what it's like for the females to feel like that. And listen, I'm not trying to be that like guy of like men are wicked and like like we're, but like in all seriousness, like this is an actual problem that we just see as like the norm. Like, why shouldn't my wife go running at like 8 o'clock at night, wherever she wants? The issue that we have in this country is that the laws and the punishment is so slack that these blokes are happy to chance it. Now, I think that like rape, child stuff, like that should all be the death penalty, 100%. Because if you hung, let's say you hung 5 paedophiles for this, what do like that is that in itself is a deterrent in their minds. Like that is what's going to happen to me. But because it's like a tap on the wrist, you get put on a sex register or whatever. Like
You get
you get your
let
name.
out. You get let out again after 5 years and he's reoffended. Like, nothing has
No,
changed.
listen, no, not 5 years. You're getting 6 months, maybe. Sometimes none. Sometimes nothing. Sometimes a tap on the wrist, sex register, sorry, and your reputation's kind of ruined. You move into another area, you move down to Cornwall or whatever, no one knows nothing about you. You can start your life again. So, like, you know, there is, honestly, it's like it rage, and that's why people are taking it into their own hands now. That's why you're getting like our sort of our organisation. We are like we do things properly and we do it legally. There's other
Mm,
organisations who don't. We said to the guy last night, "You're very lucky we're the ones who found you because there's other organisations who smash your freaking head in."
mm.
But like they wouldn't have that if the law reflected the crime, and women would feel a lot safer. You know, like I think there's definitely countries where women can easily run around at night, and rightly so. Like our law system is so slack.
I think it's that. And I think it's also like underfunded, understaffed, like everything that we talk about all the time. And I think that's why ultimately you're saying like we all need to have this in the back of the mind that we need to be a deterrent, because
Yeah, 100%.
unfortunately we're in a situation where like public services can't do what they want to set out to do. I'm sure there's lots of people
Can
that
I say on that regard though, like we talk about them being underfunded or staffed. Yeah, kind of. However, my local fire brigade, on the side of their on the side of their fire engines, they got like LGBT stuff. They got Black History Month. They've got like those vinyls cost like someone looked into it. It was like ridiculous amount of money. Now, freaking what I don't really care like what you want to celebrate and stuff like that. But I don't, as even as a soldier, we shouldn't have like poppies on our police cars and stuff like that because it costs the taxpayer money to do. Put that money towards what you're supposed to do. Stay out of freaking politics. Stay out of like ideology stuff, and do your freaking job. Save people's lives in a fire. Go and arrest bad people. Go in ambulances. Go and rescue people's lives. Don't be putting all this crap on your freaking vans and it costing the taxpayer 100k a year or whatever it is. But like, and then like all the lanyards, like the rainbow lanyards, and so how much are you spending on all that stuff?
think that
Listen, just stay in your freaking lane and do your job. So the waste, the money it like that is being just wasted, and I've seen it firsthand in the military, the amount of wasted money. We use it as a little bit of like a get out of jail card, but like how many people are getting arrested for saying stuff online when those very same police could be used to stop like paedophiles
mm,
and stop actual like people who are destroying lives.
I think it's so difficult because there's always going to be like a political agenda and tick boxes that corporations and things have to do, isn't there? We can't necessarily change that.
Why not? Why do our emergency services? Sorry, I'm like shouting at you, but like
I know.
why
Why?
why do our emergency services have to tick boxes?
I feel like I'm on
If
Good Morning.
I if I'm in a fire with my family, right, I don't care the color, the creed, the ethnicity of the person saving me. All I care about is can they save me? And I think like I think about this recently, like especially with the fire service thing, because it's always an emergency when they turn up. I think when they do the recruiting system, I think that the people recruiting them shouldn't be allowed to know their name, their gender, or anything like that. I think it should be completely like
Mm,
blank slate. So like number 246, recruit 246 is scored this, and this. This is their interview questions and all of that stuff. I think it should be completely anonymous. This is how much they can bend. This is how much they can deadlift. This is how much they can carry whilst running. This was their score on the 200-meter fireman's carry. But like the people selecting them shouldn't know anything about them. And I think that way you can scrap all of this junk and you literally choose the best people. You're like, yeah, you scored the best. You're the fittest. You're the mentally toughest. All that stuff, and then everyone's on a level playing field. If you're the best person for the job, regardless of how tall you are, ethnicity, any of that, you get the job. And then we can just side cut all this crap, and it's just like we know that we have the best people in the roles. Like, why not do that?
yeah, I agree with that massively. Because I think they've gone too far the other way. They've put all these options in. You have to take, if you're non-binary, you have to go through all this different questionnaire, because then they have to get a certain percentage of recruits that tick that box. And it's like, no, like same with the pilots, even get me started on Trump, but like I think, like you say, a level playing field and getting the best people for that job, because then your recruitment is proper, it's good, it's
Yeah,
sound. There can be no doubt about it that the person being put in that role is being best suited and fitted to it physically, mentally, whatever it asks of you. That's just how it should be, you know? And I think
100%.
that would squash a lot of like disputes around like equality and all sorts, because it's genuinely just comes down to, are you good enough at what you do? And if you are, then you can have it, you know?
Yeah. Like if I want to like apply for being an accountant, it's because it's like the only sector where we're like really doing this, or that's probably wrong, probably in every sector, but like it's madness if you're not physically capable to do the job. Like if a 50-kilo woman can't drag 100 kilos out of a building, then they can't be a firefighter. If a 50-kilo woman can, and they can do it well, and they can do it as efficiently as a 100-kilo bloke, then great. But
Mm.
like I can't be an accountant because I'm shocking at maths, but I don't get like a pass for it. Like, so why should someone get a pass, like, for when it comes down to saving someone's life? It's just nonsense. We're just playing like these ridiculous games with people's safety. So I bring that all back to say that's why we're having to do this stuff.
Mm. Yeah, no, understood. I
But
think,
being a deterrent, so important.
yeah,
Every person, every citizen has a responsibility to fend off evil. Do you know in the attack in Southport, you know, where the nursery got attacked? Do you know 2 blokes barricaded themselves upstairs in a room, locked the door? That's
really.
what's coming out. That is for me the most sickening. We went to Belfast recently. We went to the Titanic Museum, and the biggest thing that struck me about that museum was how sacrificial the men were back in the
Mm.
day. Like, you know, it was women and children first, and men would sacrifice themselves to get the women and children out. And you know, for me, I think that's what it's got to be, for because like these sickos, like let's say like blokes who wait and rape women in parks and stuff. I would say that 90% of blokes, no, sorry, 99% of blokes, if they got their hands on blokes like that, would murder them, like would kill them. Like, but like I just think that needs to happen. Sorry, I'm getting quite
What
dark here, but like
do you think has caused this shift though? Right, because there is a shift. I think a shift.
6,000 rapes a month in the UK.
6,000.
In the last 2 years, it's gone up 20% for rapes under 13, 2 years in a row. What has caused that? Moral decay through pornography, through social media, through sexualism or sexualized culture, through our films, through our documentaries, through our TV, through our social media, which, you know, I don't care what you say, like pornography pollutes the mind, and makes you depraved, and it also makes you almost can't see women properly anymore. Like I don't watch porn. Like I'll be honest. I become a Christian at 19, and by 2021, I think I'd broken that like kind of addiction off my life or whatever. It took me a while. It was hard, but I broke it. I'm 35 now, so I haven't watched porn in all that time, and I see the effects of it working in a gym. How blokes are so awkward around women. Like like I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just saying this because I'm not watching that filth. I can walk up to like any woman in the gym and have a normal conversation and like just speak to them normally. You see blokes, and because they're watching all this filth and stuff like that, they almost can't like talk to a woman. It's weird. It's like this shift is like proper twisted.
I think that's like perception as well. So like in the gym, right? So I'll wear gym leggings, I'll wear like a gym top underneath, like a gym bra, because obviously women have to wear bras, like, and I'll wear a top, right? If it like a baggy top. If I get too warm, I'll have to take that off. So then I'm literally in leggings and like a bra thing. And you'll know, like you can see people will look at you or like, and you feel uncomfortable. But it's like, this is the most comfortable thing for me to wear. Because if I'm squatting, I want leggings. I'm not going to do it in anything else, and I'm warm, so like what else am I meant to do? So I think it's the perception, and I think that comes from, like you say, over sexualization from a very young age. Social media is massive, porn huge, everything objectifies women.
But the clothes objectify the women as well.
But right, so
So
what?
like the new leggings that are in place now, you
Yeah,
know,
the bum
the
scrunch
scrunchy bum
one.
hole.
Let's just say they're normal leggings then, for the sake of this, because I don't
Yeah,
own a pair of bums.
yeah,
Normal
yeah, yeah.
leggings, right, that are thick, that you can't see my bum through, and literally like a top that's like a bra top. It's cropped, but it's because that's literally the best fit for that situation. Like that then
Yeah,
is perceived as wrong.
like that's up to you. Like it's your body, what you wear. What I would say is that men are obviously like there's a saying, isn't there? Men love with their eyes, women love with their ears. So you can smooth talk a woman into like a relationship, whereas men, doesn't matter how smooth the woman talks, if he's not attracted to her with his eyes, they ain't going nowhere. So men do kind of like love with their eyes. I know obviously women are, don't get me wrong, women are attracted to men as well, of course they are, but like men are very much with their eyes. And so I think no, like going into a gym environment, you're gonna wearing that stuff. Men are gonna look like, let's be honest. And so is that,
What you said previously
yeah,
was like, if obviously they are living a life where it is objectifying women more through what they're watching, through what they're consuming, through not having that awareness that it is corrupting their mind and their viewpoint,
yeah.
then that's the issue.
So yeah, so as a Christian man, right, if a woman walks into the gym and they're wearing, so women will wear what you're saying there, describing it, and
Mm.
like I don't know what the agenda of that woman is. For you, it's the most comfortable thing.
Yeah.
That's cool. You wear that. For others, they're wearing the scrunchy bum thing where like literally you can see apps. There's nothing left to the imagination. They're wearing the tightest bra, strap top, whatever you want to call it, ever. They're bulging out of that. Like they're dressed as like basically porn stars in the gym. Now they are not doing that because that's the most comfortable thing to wear. Like they're doing it for whatever. I don't know what their gender is. Maybe they're doing it to
But then
be,
maybe they're doing that because they feel good in that as
yeah,
well,
yeah. They feel good because
which
people are looking at
shouldn't
them. I
then
don't
be
know.
penalized potentially because they're doing it for them, not for anyone else. But then everyone
Okay,
else,
so if like let's say Zac Efron walks into the gym and
yeah.
he's wearing literally just like some tight white pants, right? Yeah, and he's walking around and he's got like a 12 pack or whatever. And then women are looking at him and he's like, oh, why are they looking at me? Like, oh, they're just objectifying me. What would you say about that? So I think there is, yeah, but he's like, oh, listen, this is the most comfortable thing for me. So I think like, I'm not saying like, and I'll never ever say this as an argument, like, why was she wearing that? Like, when a
Mhm.
girl gets raped, why was she wearing that? No, that's unacceptable. So like me as a Christian man, sorry, going back to my point, a woman comes in and she's dressed like a porn star in the gym, and I look over, and now I've got that internal battle. Don't look, right? And then you're fighting that. Like, no, don't look. Like, don't pay any attention to it because we believe Jesus taught like even if you lust for a woman in your thoughts, you have committed adultery. So now I will fight against that to not look at that woman. And I'll like purposely, whereas when you're like clouded by pornography and you haven't really got that moral compass, so to speak, and stuff. Yeah, you're just going to be like whatever, you're going to be gawping at her the whole session. But I think there's a responsibility on both sides. So there's a responsibility on the guy's side to not act on these desires. But I do also think in a public space, like bearing in mind the gym is my workspace. So when you were teaching, if like people were coming into your workspace wearing next to nothing, would it be a respectful thing to do? I don't know.
No.
It's up for you to choose. So when PTs are working in there 30, 40 hours a week, I don't know, you're coming into someone else's workspace. That's for your own moral judgment. You choose if that's correct or not. But I think both sides have responsibility.
Yeah.
And it's not for me to, do whatever you want, wear whatever you want. I don't really care. Like I feel like I've got enough self-control to not do it. But don't be surprised when people stare.
I think that's the case though, isn't it? Self-control, you've hit the nail on the head there, and also moral
Yeah.
compass. And I think that's what's lacking. And I think that's the change in society, and the shift that I feel is that a lot of people don't live by like a moral code anymore, or they don't necessarily, I think a lot of people are drifting and don't even look deeper to like want to better themselves or think about how things can be perceived or why they shouldn't do something a certain way. So many people live based on the simplistic desires of what feels good in that moment or what looks good to the outside world because everything's on social media. And I think, I just think there's a real lack of depth of character now. I think social
Yeah.
media is massively to blame for that.
The lines are blurred, aren't they? And
Massively.
it's a hard one, yeah, but every single person has to live by their own convictions. And the issue is that when you continually sear your conscience, you will have no convictions left and everything will become permissible. That's what these like sex offenders and stuff like that is like. Over years, they've seared their conscience to the point where they don't feel guilt anymore. They don't feel like anything's wrong anymore, because they've like over the years, they've pushed the boundaries. Once upon a time, they feel guilty for watching something naughty online. now meeting a child is like that's acceptable to them, and they don't feel that like shame and that guilt anymore, you know. So you've got to really make sure that you don't sear that conscience, because it's very hard to get back that moral code, moral compass, once you've broken it.
What would you say to anyone then? So a bit of a shift here, but like
Yeah.
obviously we are living in a society where potentially there's not the same moral code anymore and people don't necessarily have, I think people are almost scared to speak out as well, in a way of like not offending people. There's this thing of like, oh, we have to be, you know, kind of not upset anymore and don't want to say the wrong thing. Like what would you say to anybody who's like aware and wanting to kind of get involved in stuff like you are and to just step up and be a role model or like someone better in society and actually make a difference, where would they even start? Like what would they do to start to better themselves?
Acting on these convictions that you have. It's like, um, for instance, like the migrant crisis at the moment. Like, well, I'd be talking about it. Ah, this is so, we're letting fighting age males go in. But it's like I didn't really know what was actually going on, so I went out with a political party to Calais and did surveillance on it. And now I understand the whole process of it. But like I literally acted on that conviction. It's like I'm not going to just talk about this online. I want to go and see what's happening. And now I have authority to speak on it because I have seen it firsthand and I understand what's going on. We watch these migrant groups and we watch the traffickers and how they moved them and how the police allowed them through, and all these things. So now I have a voice in it. So like if you have a real conviction on stuff like this, if the stuff I'm saying about like the catching the pedophiles and stuff is like, yeah, I want to get my teeth stuck into that and protect children, you've got to act on it and reach out to these organizations or message me on Complete Commando or whatever. You know, I'd say you've got to be a level-headed person who can look a predator in the face and not smash their face in. That's important. But yeah, just be people of action. You know, there's so much talk these days, isn't there? Like we can sit here and talk a good game, but like, what are you actually going to do with the convictions that you have? What are you actually going to do to be a deterrent?
Yeah.
So I would just say, like, really be like those role models to those around you. Like we say it all the time, don't we, to our clients? The whole role of the program is that you are role models to those around you, to your family members, to the children in your family, to those in your sphere of influence. We want people looking to you as disciplined, well structured, polite, dangerous, controlled people. And that's what we should all aspire to be. And if we all do that, our nation will be a far better place for it. So look at the distractions in your life. Look at the things that are holding you back. Look at the things you waste your time in. It's probably your phone. And look to get rid of those distractions and go out. And if you're not in good shape right now, go and get your trainers on. The first run's always the hardest. And just start being a person of conviction, a person of action, a person that does stuff that you believe in. If it's right, if it's morally right.
Yeah, I love that.
I've actually got a phone call with one of our clients now, so I've got to roll.
Okay.
I hope it was good and insightful, and sorry if I got a bit passionate there.
No, passion's good. We don't have to see enough of that. That's exactly the surface level living that everyone's doing. So yeah.
Mm.
Perfect. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Hey, bye.